Hello, everyone. How are y'all doing today?
Hey.
Oh, hey, Suzanne. I haven't been outside yet, but I believe you.
Well, it's 85 and sunny here where I'm at. That's warm.
Okay.
Well, it is 91 and partly cloudy and getting cloudier and windier by the moment. So I'm assuming that there is a storm coming through.
Well,
it's a storm every Sunday at your place.
Pretty much.
Well, this whole rest of the week, it's supposed to be like 75 and above % chance of rain every single day.
Well, remember when we were in Florida, it rained every day but one.
Yeah. Hey, Gwen. Hey, Tracy. How are you all?
Hey.
Hello, Mama Gwen, and hello, Tracy. How are you there? Star DK Jen. How are you, sweetie?
We got Candy.
Hello, Candy.
Everyone.
We're so happy y'all are here with us this afternoon.
Yes, it's good to see everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you had a great week.
Yes. Mama Gwen says she's blessed. Hello there, Oodles.
Hello.
And Gloria.
Oh, I didn't see Gloria. Hello, sweetheart. Thank y'all for coming in here.
Didn't see you either.
And there's Becky.
Hey, Laura. Dawn.
Nana Michelle.
Oh, Nana Michelle.
And Laura and Amy.
And Dawn. How are y'all? Oh, my goodness. What a wonderful squirrel raid.
Mama
Juju.
It's so good to see everyone.
Yes. Yeah. Thank y'all so much for being with us.
And Chandra.
Hello, Chandra. How are you, sweetie? It's been a bit.
I am enjoying watching everybody pop in.
Yes, and saying hi to one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we are so thankful for the squirrel raid. So we do appreciate all of you choosing to pop over here and see what our topic is today. There's Pebbles.
Hey, Pebbles.
And look there's our Granny Dee. How are you, sweetheart? Thank you so much for your raid.
Hey, Granny
Dee. And here it is for Granny and her raiders. Did I just call her Granny without the D? That is so weird.
Yes, and thank you, Tracy. Please don't forget your thumbs. It helps out PFF. We really would appreciate your thumbs.
I'm sure Granny is better than anything else that she could be called.
Best Granny I ever had, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Hey. We love our Granny Dee.
Yes, we do.
No
worries.
Sweetheart.
Oh, good Lord. So, what have you all been up to? Anything exciting happened since last Sunday?
Froggy had something exciting happen yesterday.
Oh, what happened? What happened?
Yes.
So, I have been working on the shawl. I have been knitting a shawl.
Yeah.
And I was 80 some rows into it, like 86, 87 rows into it. And I left it in here when I went in the other room and I was sitting with my husband. And I come back in here and something looked funny about it. And I put on my glasses and I pick it up, and the cat, Wednesday, had chewed through the cable.
No.
The yarn. So the cable is useless. I have to throw the cable away. So I was not happy. So there's these two pieces. There's a little string. There's this ball. Mind you, it was all one ball of yarn. There's this ball. I actually had to start all the way at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because
No.
when I
Yeah.
ripped back, I couldn't tell where I was in the pattern.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to start all the way from the beginning.
Oh, that sucks.
I am
Yep.
so not happy.
Yeah, she's still
Oh.
kind of stewing on that one.
Yeah. Maureen had to hear me complain, so I am back at this little piece.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sucks so bad.
It does. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be laughing.
I don't
but
mind if you laugh at me.
What else are you gonna do though?
yeah, I'm not laughing at you. Is she in kitty jail?
No.
I'm sure she is. Oh, she's not.
No, but I was so upset I cried.
What?
I can
Yeah,
imagine.
who wouldn't?
80-something rows in? Yeah. With knitting? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that took me days to do.
Right.
Mm.
I cried. Here's the needles. Here's the beautiful cable. Beautiful. Oh, there's the snag.
Oh, no.
Yep.
It's bit.
I got it.
There it is. It's
Thank
bit.
you, Mama Gwen.
So
Yeah.
that can't be used because it's no longer smooth.
Yeah, that's gonna snag
Mhm.
everything. That
So-
sucks so bad.
That's trash. Mama is not happy. Now I watch my knitting like a hawk.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't leave it unattended. And I don't work on it in my recliner with my cats.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I was deeply upset.
Yeah. Does your door shut?
No,
Your office?
I don't have a
Yeah.
door at my office.
Oh, yeah. So you can't even close it
Yeah.
behind you if you leave some out.
No, I'm. Oh my gosh, I cried. I was.
Mm.
Yeah.
And as I'm frogging back, and I realized there's that extra little string of yarn, I'm like, oh, she really tore this up. And then when I start to knit again, I'm going, oh, I don't even remember, I can't read my knitting well enough with my blind eyes to see what
Yeah.
row I am on. And I'm like,
Jeez.
oh. So then I just wound it back.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
all you
suppose
can
it had
do.
stitch counts at the end of every row, eh?
Yeah,
Or at
it
least-
did.
It did? Oh, so you can just count the
It
number of
did,
stitches
but-
you had?
2 rows have the same stitch count.
True story.
And I'm like, so just frogged it and started over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm
Man.
still stewing over it. Yes. Like Maureen said, I'm still stewing over it.
Well, see, to me, that's what I'm laughing at is the fact that she's still because I'm sorry, folks. I'm one of those that believe that you want your stitches to hold love. And
Well,
you're trying
They
to
do hold love. They do. Well, that's the other reason for frogging it all the way back. It's got to be perfect.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
and they do hold love. But when I'm not knitting it, I'm stewing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. So I just want to get back to where I was, and I will be 100% better.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do. I do. I know, Granny D.
Mm.
And I'm kicking myself for not putting it back in my project bag.
Oh, Nana Michelle
That's the
says-
last time you do that. Oh,
Yeah.
It was.
Well, if you stop and think about it, she probably got very lax about doing it because Pusheen, being an older cat,
Never bothered it.
yeah.
She never bothered my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And these are kittens, and they bother my stuff.
And like Pusheen was like a cat dog. So
Right. Uh-huh.
he doesn't count.
Yeah, he never bothered my stuff. I mean, if anything, he would rub up against me,
Mhm.
Of course, he could knit himself, so he wouldn't bother with my knitting. These two can't knit or crochet, so they're like all over it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm all right. I mean, yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, you've gotten very lucky. She
Yeah.
likes, they love the yarn toys I make. Hey, Dan.
Hello, Dan.
I wish they would leave my things alone, but I had no idea she was going to get on my desk and do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I should know better because they do get on my desk when I'm not here at
Yeah.
my
And
my yard.
kittens will play with anything and everything.
Isn't that the truth? They are still so curious. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very curious.
Mm-hmm.
I hope as they get older they leave things alone. I hope. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, my cat used to like always want to be a mama's lap. Like she was mama's
Mhm.
girl.
Oh, they do.
But she learned real quick that when mommy's crocheting, you do not jump on mommy's lap. Like you stay over
Right.
there, you can watch me from over there.
You're
Right.
right. Pebbles is right. It's a new toy they found.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly, DK Jen. She says they're like the terrible twos. They're getting into everything right now. You're
Well,
absolutely right.
they're 5.5 months old. That's why.
Yeah.
They,
Like I said, terrible twos.
yeah, on the 4th of September, they'll be 6 months. And there you go.
Yep.
I did learn my lesson. I did. It's a very powerful lesson.
Agreed, Gwen.
From your mouth to God's ears, they'll grow out of it.
Yeah.
You know, hope.
Please, please. But I am putting it away every time. It's sitting in front of me at the moment, and I will not get up and leave it there.
Yeah.
We'll go
Yeah.
back in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say maybe when they're about a year old, have like just a scrap project on needles and like put it down and teach them like no.
Yeah. Smack them for touching it. Pluck them for touching
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just spray bottle. Psst.
it. That's a cable I have to replace now. I mean, that was
Yeah.
a 36-inch cable.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
a nice
only
long
get
one.
one in a set of needles. So that cable
Right.
is gone.
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Is it from
At
a
least-
set that like they sell just the cables?
Yeah, you can buy just the cables. But yeah, it's
at least.
Knit Pro or Knitter's Pride.
Okay.
At least I was not any further in the shawl.
Oh, isn't that the truth? You know, that's the bright side. That really is.
Yeah.
That's the bright side.
Yeah, and this is the cake of yarn that it only uses 350 yards. If it was the mohair or the other cake of yarn, I would really be in trouble because
Mhm.
this is all of that yarn.
Yeah.
I would have had to replace it, but this one I don't have to replace what's gone.
Okay.
So I'm much better. You're needing a new puppy to train. You want to train
Oh
my kitten
my.
on the back? You're the cat you had would wait until you moved your crocheting and she jump on your lap under your work. Oh, I'm sorry you miss them. Mine don't
Yeah.
care. They will climb up on top of the work, under the work. It doesn't matter. And apparently they'll eat the work. Thank you, Dawn. There should be another thumb because one of those thumbs is mine.
One of those is mine too. So,
Ah, look, we're missing 2 thumbs because we are not watching.
all right.
There you
I
go.
put mine in earlier.
Okay, so today's topic, I hope you guys are raring to go. We were trying to think of what would make a good crocheter great. And so we're going to go back to basically the basics.
Right.
And we thought that we would talk to you about what tools you need. And I know this is something that a lot of you don't need,
Mhm.
but I'm hoping that you'll stick around and listen and maybe add to the conversation
Right.
because you
Yeah.
guys could provide maybe something that we hadn't thought of or help out some newbies that don't really know. Your
Right.
old service dog needs a well-deserved break. Oh, that'll be great to be a mentor. So the
That's
first thing under tools would be crochet hooks or knitting needles. Hi, Gwen. Welcome in.
Hello, Gwen. And see right there, Mama Juju, because I was telling Froggy, we have at least one, if not 2 or 3 every week who come in and say, I'm new at this. So, Mama Juju, you sit back, take notes if you want to, or make sure that you just keep this one for today pinned for you because we're going to go over some things that not only to help those of you that are new to the craft, but, and let me back up here just a minute. It's not just information that you can apply to crocheting. It's also for knitting. It's also for any craft that you do. We all have to start with the basics and then go from there. So what we're going to be talking about mainly, you'll probably hear us say a lot, and I'll try to poke Jennifer just a little bit. We'll probably mainly talk about crochet, but I know that there are knitters out there, and I'm really bad about unintentionally excluding you because number one, I don't knit. So we just wanted to bring a whole bunch of information that we've talked about, hit it here, hit it there over at least the last year or since I've been with TFF. And we just thought that since, like I said, we've had some newbies coming in, we wanted to step back just a little bit and talk about things that we that have been crocheting for a long time already know, but we want to help those that are just getting started in the craft of yarn, whether it's knitting or crochet.
Thanks, Gwen. Hey, Nisi.
There's our Nisi, and hello, Gwen. How are you?
So the first tool that you're going to need is going to be a crochet hook or knitting needles.
Yeah, and I would say if you're just starting and you're buying your very first hook, go with an H 5mm and get yourself a 4-weight yarn just to practice, and you'll be good to go.
Isn't that the truth?
Wonderful, wonderful, Jed. I so appreciate that. So when you first want to start out with crocheting or knitting, thank you, Gwen, you don't need the most expensive hooks or knitting needles on the market. Because it's a new craft for you.
And not only that, you probably don't want one that's as slippy and fast because you're not going to be as fast as your hook.
Right.
That's right.
So you want to start out with something inexpensive. In America, maybe hit up the Dollar Tree and get a really cheap hook for like $1.25. You can get some inexpensive ones on Amazon. You can get some inexpensive ones even at Temu. That's
Michael's, Joann's.
Yes.
I mean, anywhere you can get something inexpensive.
And you can also buy just one. You don't have to buy a complete set.
That's correct.
Yeah. I would actually suggest getting two. Get yourself a boy type and a Susan Bates type to see which you prefer and try with both.
Yeah, that would be like an inline. You know, or the other one, either one.
Mama Gwen, that's great too. Thrift stores.
See, you guys were helping. You learned
holy smokes, Becky.
Bedspread thread. That's all your grandmother had. That's wonderful.
Oh, number 10 bedspread thread. Oh my word.
And see, that was a great choice, Juju, to get the Pioneer Woman set that's on clearance. That way you've got something to start out with and you didn't lay out a bunch of money.
No.
And I like that idea. But your crochet hooks can go anywhere from thrift store cheap, dollar store inexpensive, all the way up to your most expensive Nelson wood hooks.
Oh yeah.
You know, hand carved.
Yeah, I literally, for the first long time, it took me a very long time to take the plunge and buy a set because I wanted to make sure I got the right set. So for years, I used the aluminum, the little ones.
Yes.
An aluminum boy hook, 5mm. I used that from the time I was 8, off and on until like in my 30s when I finally took the.
So there is many different types of hooks out there. You've got plastic, metal, aluminum, steel. Hey, hello, Hugh.
Hey, Hugh.
You've got bamboo. You've got wood. I mean, there's resin. I mean, there are so many different types to try. But you need to start out with something inexpensive and then work your way up to trying different types of hooks. Now, what works for me doesn't work for Coco. What works for Coco doesn't work for Maureen. everybody is an individual.
That's right.
And everybody likes a particular type of hook.
Mm-hmm.
We all like something different. We all hold our hooks differently. My favorite hook was discontinued. It happens to be a Furl's Odyssey. I hold my hook up here like this. I know that looks funny. I'm blind and I have to hold my hook so I can feel the loops on it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many, there's no right or wrong way to hold your hook either.
No.
You can hold it way back here. You can hold it way up here. You can hold it like a knife, and you can hold it way back here.
I barely hold mine at all. I think like 2 fingers just to like.
Yeah, you can hold it however you want to hold it. Whatever is comfortable to you.
Right. And
But
I find.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I find it funny that Coco said she started with the boy hook. I started with the Bates hook.
I started
like
with
boys.
I don't like boy.
Yeah. I don't like the boy. I don't like any hooks that have that shape of head. They don't work for me.
I prefer a Bates style hook. That's just what I prefer. But that's only because I learned on that.
That's right.
Usually you stick with the style that you learned on, that's usually, but it doesn't matter. Can I use the other type of hook?
Oh, yeah, I can use it. In a pinch, I can use it. But
I can use anything in a pinch.
Yeah, I'm just not as fast with the other kind because I find the
it drags.
Point, it snags on my way out because I'm used to pulling it the way I pull it.
Right. And that's what it's all about. Yes. And see, just like Mama Gwen there, she says, I can't use the Bates. Well, my oldest daughter, she prefers the boys because she always talks about, Mom, it drags too much for me. That's okay. So
there's many different types. Now there are hooks that you do use different types for certain projects. If I'm working with a silk, I'm going to switch to a bamboo because silk is super slippery, and I'm going to switch to a bamboo hook or a resin hook because it creates drag on the yarn, and it's not going to slip off my hook. So there are certain reasons for that. Now, when it comes, hey Steve, now when it comes to knitting needles, you don't need an expensive pair.
Yeah, you're actually better off starting with wood with drag because you don't want to drop your stitches.
Yes, you are better off starting off with wood or bamboo.
I didn't know that.
You can get a set off of Amazon that are inexpensive. You can get them at Walmart. You can get them at Michael's. You can get them on Temu. You can get them in all different places. There are all different styles. There's double pointed needles. There's straight needles. There are fixed circulars, and there are interchangeable circulars. So there are multiple different types of needles. You need to choose what would work for you. And obviously they're used for different types. So there's circulars for hats, and there's straight needles for like scarves. So you need to pick what works for you.
Hey, Sandrine.
Hey,
Tori says,
Tori.
Tori started with a $1 metal hook and upgraded to a clover because of Coco.
Check out resale shops. Check out thrift stores, the resale shops. Check out the
garage sales even.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. Yard sales, garage sales. People might be wanting to get rid of their stuff. Check out Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Even eBay. You might find some really nice hooks or needles for a good price. You don't have to go out and buy a full set of pricey knitting needles.
No.
You don't.
Yeah, that's why I said start with a 5mm and a 4-weight yarn. The majority, even if you don't know how to read a pattern yet, like most things are a 4-weight yarn with a 5 to 5.5 millimeter.
You don't got to go out and buy this, okay? This is a full set of nice, pricey knitting needles. I'm trying to, there you go. These are Knit Pro, Knit and Sip. You don't have to go out and buy these. I mean, do you want them? Probably. But wait until you know how to knit before you buy them.
Well, and my thing is too, wait until you know that you enjoy the craft.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to spend a lot of money. And again, like I said, it doesn't matter what your passion is, whether it's crochet, knitting, painting, even coloring, charcoal, drawing. You don't want to start out with something expensive because you spend all that money on it and then it gets shoved in a closet somewhere and that's it. So you want to make sure that you at least can start with something that you can use, you can learn with, and then you can branch out and start looking at something that's a little more pricey, not because it's pricier, but because you do want to start having a nice set of hooks or needles, paintbrushes, It says, in my younger years, I had women tell me I was holding the hook wrong because I'm left-handed, and 2, I was holding the thread wrong. I finally ignored her and kept going. There you go, sweetheart. My oldest daughter is a lefty. I'm a pencil holder. She's a knife holder. I wind my yarn through several fingers, and she only wraps around her finger and goes. So, but I didn't stop her from doing that. I just said, you have to find your own path. You have to hold the hook the way you want to, and then you have to learn. Or, I showed her different techniques. I got her onto YouTube to show her, that especially when she decided to go this direction, I'm like, okay, Mama's in foreign territory because I couldn't even hold it for her. I mean, I'm not kidding you guys. I have tried to hold the hook like a knife person and I can't do it. I just can't. So,
and that's another thing too, as I find, and I've even read this, people that are pencil holders in general prefer Susan Bates type.
Yes.
And people that are knife holders generally prefer the boy type.
And that's exactly what she likes.
I'm a knife and I prefer Bates. I can crochet pencil, but I am a knife holder and I prefer Bates.
Yeah.
Just me.
Right.
I can crochet with my left hand, but I'm ambidextrous. So just depends on what you like.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. There's obviously exceptions to every rule. Do whatever works for you.
I'm the exception to every rule. To do what you like to do. Don't worry what other people tell you that you're holding it wrong. Just ignore them. There's no right or wrong way.
No. And so before we move on to something else, I ran across a little survey that had been done, and I found it really, really interesting. Let me go over here and pull it up. So there was a survey done only in the United States now, folks, about what is your favorite hook to use in crochet. Now, I didn't find anything on knitting, so I'm very sorry, but I figured those two ladies there can talk to you about the most, what they would feel like would be the most, what am I trying to say? The one that would be the favorite, for most knitters. But like I said, I found this very interesting. So again, now I don't know how many people were polled, but Clover Amour came in at number 1, 36.25%. Tulip came in at 13.75%. Susan Bates was 12.5%. Boy was 11.25%. Clover Soft Touch was 8.75%. We Crochet Dots is 6.25%. And I was telling Froggy, these last 3 really surprised me. Furls is 5%. Prim is 5%. And Ami is 1%.
Yep.
It's probably a lot to do with the price too of the prim and furls, though.
Right, and that's kind of what I think too. But I was surprised, honestly, that the Clover Amour came in at number 1.
Oh, it's the best ever. Well, I'm taking that to my grave.
I like Clover Amour. They're like a cross between the boy and the babes. I do like Clover Amour. They're not my favorite, but I like them. I do think the prices have a lot to do with it too, in a point to a point. But your baits and your buoy are more inexpensive.
Mhm.
Ami hooks are very similar to O-Fire, and they're similar to a resin furls. I put the link to the Ami crochet. They're also available on Amazon.
Yeah, I think too, like the first, what, 4 or 5 even are like the boy type.
Yeah,
So I can see furls being lowered down because they're Susan Bates type plus
not
more
all of them.
expensive.
Not all of
A
them.
lot of them though. A lot of them though.
The metal ones are not
Okay.
the resins. You're just
Really?
relearning how to yarn over the right way. No, you can yarn over or yarn under. It doesn't
Right.
matter.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't matter, Becky, as long as you're consistent.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not weird, Tori. It's just the way you crochet.
Yes.
You're not weird. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you're not weird.
Yeah.
Now those
Just a little
hooks.
quick. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say a little quick tip for any crocheter just starting to dabble in knitting. I would highly suggest looking up continental tutorials because you
Yes,
tension your yarn the exact same way and it won't be as foreign to you.
yes, that's what I do. I knit continental, and
Yeah, me
that
too.
just means that you're holding the yarn in your left hand.
And you're not yarning over, you're more like grabbing it, almost like a crochet hook.
Which,
Huh.
which is why when I took knitting classes, I didn't learn how to knit. I had difficulty because they wanted me to hold the yarn with my right hand. And I am a crocheter since 1975. So I've always tensioned the yarn with my left hand.
Yeah.
And my 2 teachers did not know how to do that.
Yeah.
So
I
they
mean, I
were
can do it the regular way, but I don't like it. It's slower. It's like,
very slow.
yeah. Hey,
And
Tina and Gertrude.
I can't tension it that way. The only time I use the yarn in my right hand is if I'm doing 2 color knitting. And I'll hold one color one way and one color the other way. But yeah, I had to learn by watching somebody on the television, Uni Jang. So it worked better that way. Hello, Donna.
Hello, Donna and Tina Gertrude. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes. Yes, I do prefer these because of the arthritis in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer a wider handle.
Right.
So that's why I use the furls. And I
Well,
do.
I found it funny that since I have switched to the furls, I picked up a Bates the other day and it was like, oh my goodness, this is so skinny in here. And I had to play with it just a little bit because I needed a certain hook that I didn't have with me right now. And oh my goodness, it was so strange. But I have found that I really like the furls because I don't seem to fight my yarn anymore as much as I was doing. And I think it has helped for me to alleviate some of the, I'm not going to admit that it's probably arthritis, which it probably is, but you know what I mean? It just, I can crochet a lot longer period of time now with this style of hook than with just my old fashioned weights.
Yeah. And that has a lot to do with how you hold your thing too, because I hold it like this anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's actually, my fingers are wider apart, so it's less comfortable.
That
I
makes
don't
sense.
like that.
Right.
So I prefer the skinnier ones.
Mm-hmm.
And Tori, I will run your playlist to help you get your watch hours.
Oh,
And
yes, ma'am.
hello, Kivia. Yeah.
Hello, Kivia. Didn't see you pop in there.
Tori only needs 92 hours for monetization. So any of you that would be able to run Tori overnight, it would be greatly appreciated.
Yes.
Yep, yep.
And now the next item on our list that you need for knitting and crochet are scissors. Now, I change out my scissors quite frequently,
Mm-hmm.
not the rest of you, but you don't need an expensive pair of scissors.
Mm-mm.
I use a lot of scissors that I bought from Temu. I will use them until I go to cut the yarn and it doesn't cut it fully through.
Yeah.
I just do, because
Right.
then they get what I call demoted to cutting paper, opening packages, cutting other items.
Right.
Mhm.
I like my scissors when I cut my yarn to be super, super sharp.
Right.
Yeah, and you can go with something like this, unless you're taking your project out and about.
Yeah.
Whatever
Right.
works.
These are Timu scissors.
Mhm.
There we go. They're really nice. Um, that's why when that's why you got so many scissors in the Florida bags, because I will use them until they're not real good for cutting yarn, and then I will switch them out. But you can, where are you going? I need ice. Um, so that's what I do.
So
I'll drop. You got our link? Okay.
yeah, Kibia did it. Thanks.
Thank you, Kibia. So you can have Dollar Tree scissors, or
Right.
you can have the Ginger scissors. Ginger scissors
Yes.
are like $80 a pair. Um,
Right.
you
I've
can
never
have
splurged on scissors like that ever.
Mhm.
you can have super expensive scissors, or you can have cheap scissors. What matters is they stay sharp.
Right.
And like Jen says, you can cut aluminum foil, aluminum,
Aluminum.
aluminium. You can cut the foil.
Aluminium. There you go.
Yeah, you can cut the foil to keep them sharp, and I will do that on occasion. Um,
Hmm.
but basically, I just demote them because I have so many pairs of scissors.
There you
And
go, Kivian.
Yeah.
Scissors from the Dollar Tree. That's right. Or I tell you what, folks, I have been known to, the little blunt end scissors that you get
yeah,
for your little kindergarten
Hmm.
kids. I tell you what, I have carried those in many of a bag, mainly because of putting them in my bag. I don't want the points, to be poking a hole in there. Yes, very
yeah,
good, Becky.
yeah,
In
Tony.
a pinch, I've even used these.
Yes, there you go. There you go. And that's not a lot of money invested in scissors. Now, of course, I was telling Froggy that I look more at longevity for my scissors, but that comes from my sewing fabric background. So I really
Mm.
don't mind spending a little bit more on my scissors. But over the years, I have branched out and bought some cheaper ones just to keep in bags that I take with other projects. And I'm not kidding you guys, those little scissors that you get for your little pre-K kindergarten kids have the rounded tip, but they cut. I am not kidding you. They give you just as clean a cut as any of these others will.
I
Yeah.
used to use only Fiskars,
Oh,
uh,
yes, me
the
too.
smaller Fiskars. That's all I used to use. But now I just use what I use the ones from Temu. I mean, I'm just used to use that.
Yeah.
And yes, I have
I have
fingernail
snippers.
clippers uh,
Mm-hmm.
for when I fly. But I mean, I even have these cheap things.
Yeah, I call those
Yeah.
snippers.
Yeah,
And
this
if you're worried about the point poking through your project bag, they have those foldy ones. They're not great and they're kind of like wobbly and whatever, but they'll cut
Right.
when they're new.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of scissors out there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have super expensive ones.
No.
And if you have a question, please put it in the chat and we can help
yeah,
you out.
absolutely.
If it's a private question, you can email TwistedFiberFriends@gmail.com.
Yes.
But yeah, the scissors is an important one. You have to have something to cut your yarn.
That's right. And I like what Oodle said. The ones that she's gotten for her daughter from Walmart had the rounded tips and a little color. Pretty cool and safe. And yes, they come in very pretty colors, don't they?
Just make sure you're only using it to cut your yarn,
That's right.
nothing else.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Because I tell you what, guys, a lot of people, and I was telling Froggy this, a lot of people are like, well, why does everybody get upset if they found out that I used my yarn scissors to cut paper? Well, what we don't really think about is, yes, paper is much, much thinner than yarn, but paper is made from a wood product.
Yeah.
And it will dull your scissors very, very quickly to the point where you can't cut cleanly on your yarn, or for those of you that sew, you also know that it will start snagging on your material as well.
Yeah. So Pebbles says, I want to put a single crochet to start a border. The top and bottom are easy. What count do you use with a double stitch side?
It depends how loose you crochet also, but
Right.
in general, I'll probably do 2, then 3, then 2, then 3 kind of.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. That's me.
And with half double, I'll go like 2, then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Simply Made by Hand.
Hello.
Hello, Simply. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
The next item that you need is a tape measure. I get a lot. I buy dozens of tape measures at a time. Usually like 10, a pack of 10. I'm
Mm-hmm.
particular on my tape measures because I have to be able to read them. So I don't buy them with red printing. I have to make sure they have black printing. I do have a tape measurement for the blind. If I knew where it was, I'd show you guys what it looks like. But it's got bumps every inch.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's
But
cool.
I do have that. Now I have a fabric tape measure, and I have the regular round tape measures. You pull it out. Be careful with your plastic tape measures because they stretch.
There you go. There you go. That's what I was
They're
going to
good
say.
for a bit, but
Yes, they are. They're good for a bit because you're pulling them in and out, and that little string on there. I mean, that little gear in there will eventually cause that plastic to stretch. And even the plastic ones that you get that look just like your cloth ones, except they're made out of plastic. Over time, unfolding and snapping them and pulling them and this, that, and the other. The best ones to be consistent with your measuring is the cloth measuring tapes. Now, I do know that there are some folks that like to use the steel measuring tapes, like construction workers use.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but they're not as flexible, I think, as your material or your plastic measuring tapes. But yes, it is a good idea to check the ones that you pull out. If you have a cloth measuring tape, to be sure and take and place them, make sure that their measurement is still 1 inch.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take but just a little bit. Normally where you're going to find your biggest stretch is within your first, say, 18 to 20 inches.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to start finding the stretch the most.
So be careful with the stretch.
Yes.
And tape measures are very important. I also keep a gauge ruler, which is 4x4 inches, for measuring gauge, and it's usually made out of wood or plastic, hard plastic.
Right.
That way it's real quick, simple, and easy to use, and I don't have to pull out a tape measure to measure my gauge. I do use those, so that's usually handy to have.
Yeah. But if you're just starting, dollar stores,
that's right. Yeah. We're just trying to give you some ideas and some hints and things to look at and to remember as you progress in the craft of working with yarn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. You don't need anything super expensive.
No.
Not at all. No. The next item on the list are tapestry needles. And we always need tapestry needles. Those are the big needles you use to weave in your ends.
I have to admit, I personally am not a fan of the plastic ones with the big eyes.
I don't like the plastic ones.
I don't like the plastic ones.
Well, they're bendy when you go to weave in your ends. That's my reason for not liking them. I prefer the large metal ones.
Right.
Yeah. I'm looking to see if
I have a clover one that actually has a bit of a bend in it.
Well, the bent end. I like those.
I do too. I love those.
I like those. I do buy a pack of like a dozen at a time because I'm known to drop them in my floor and then I can't find them.
Right.
But tapestry needles are such a must-have for weaving in your ends. You can technically take a smaller hook and weave in your end with a smaller hook. I've done it in a pinch,
Yeah.
but it's better to use a tapestry needle. You can weave it in so much cleaner and better.
Right. Oodles, that's the reason why I don't like the plastic ones. I'm a tight crocheter and they get stuck. They just, I don't
Yeah.
like them. Hello, Nancy. How are you this afternoon?
And our next item on the list of things that you should have, or maybe, I don't know, that would help you to be a good crocheter or even knitter. Because even in knitting, we need a tapestry needle to weave in our ends.
Right.
Our stitch markers.
Yes.
In knitting, we use a little bit of a different stitch marker. It's completely circular and it doesn't have an opening. But I have a stitch marker marking the center of my project. So I use stitch markers all the time.
Yes.
I have been crocheting for a lot of years and I use stitch markers all the time. One of my favorite stitch markers is
same color as your hand, Maureen.
Is this.
Yes, that works.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's a stitch marker. These are some of my favorite things. When I'm doing amigurumi and crocheting in the round, I will put the pen, and then as I do a round, I flip it to the other side. And as I do a round, I flip it back to the other side. Wow. How do they come out? As you're knitting, you knit a row, you slip it to the other needle, and you knit a row, and you slip it to the other needle. And when you're done your project, you just comes right off the needle. It's not hooked to the yarn.
Right.
It's laying on the needle. Hello, Pat Cray.
Hello, Pat Cray. How are you doing, sweetie?
So what I'm trying to say is you don't have to go out and buy thousands of stitch markers, although I probably have them. But you can just take a scrap of yarn right here and tie it in a bow and use it as a stitch marker.
Yep.
Yeah. And the most common thing I use, crochet side anyway, the stitch markers for, is when I'm putting my project down.
Yes.
I just hook the loop so I don't lose my stitches.
Right. Right.
When you're in a pinch, bobby pins.
That's what I was going to say. Bobby pins and
safety pins.
Paper clips will also work.
They all work really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd be surprised
right.
what you can use as a stitch marker. I mean, it's unbelievable the things you can use.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this works. That blanket yarn stuff, that's what this works for.
Right.
I mean, it's great. There are some amazing stitch markers out there. I have some expensive stitch markers. Why? Because I'm stupid. There are some super cheap stitch markers.
Yes, just like I was showing you here. This little blue plastic one. I love the diaper pin ones. I mean, I really do. I love them. The only drawback to them is that over time, by opening and closing them, they will break right here in the, there you go. Yes, right there in the curve. But you can buy them in a big old container like she has right there.
I have a big
for little or nothing. So
I have a big container of them because I'm known to drop them.
Yeah,
and
like the one
break.
Those ones are great if you're using them to like count your rows and you're not going to remove them. I prefer like the spiral one for ones I'm going to have to remove often and move it along.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fantastic. I'd love to use a piece of yarn. So you don't have to have anything expensive. Just use a thread of yarn that's a different color from what you're working on. This is not something I cut off the ball. This is something that was I wove in my end and this was left over.
These two here I had from making a little lamb yesterday, and I didn't need as much as I did to crochet on the ears. So there you go.
I mean, if I need more, I've got them right here. This is all the tails and stuff from weaving in ends. They work great. I do. I have a lot of decorative stitch markers. I do. Isn't that great? That works great. I do use the simple ones more.
Yes.
The decorative one I will use to mark the front or the back of my work. I have a decorative one right here.
I also use my decorative ones to hold my, like you were saying, Coco, marking my last stitch, just because, it looks pretty. But if I need one that I'm constantly using throughout the project while I'm working on it, then I'll go to my less expensive ones.
Yeah, you're not going to want dingle dangles while you're working anyway.
No.
Dingle dangles when I'm working. I thought it was sitting in the bag. Oh, no. No, it should be. It's a glass stitch marker. But yeah, you do. You have all these. I have all these lovely stitch markers, and now I have misplaced one. That's heartbreaking.
But what we want you to take away from this, as far as stitch markers are concerned, is you don't have to go out and buy expensive ones.
No.
We want you to start, with the basics, and even some things that you wouldn't even consider to be a stitch marker, like the paper clips and bobby pins. And then slowly move up, replace, or, if you like using the paper clips and the bobby pins, then just keep right at it. And then just maybe invest in a few that are pretty to, like we said, mark the front or the back of your project, to hold your stitches until you come back to it.
I found it.
Yeah, Nancy said
just starting.
No, I was just saying, Nancy says, I make my own. There you go. Look at that one.
It's a sheep and eats knitting.
That's too cute.
That's cute.
That's what I do. I have a decorative one that'll mark the front or the back of my work. It helps. Just different little things like that. You don't have to have the super expensive things like that. But it is fun to have a few. It's something that's not as expensive to collect.
Right. Now, I like that, Nancy says she adds letters to her stitch markers that she makes so that she knows which hook she was using. I really like that idea.
I love that idea. I like the numbers on them because I usually go by the millimeters, especially when it comes to my needles. See, now that tells me that that's the front side of my work.
Okay.
I mean, it just...
There you go.
It's a thing.
Agreed, Nancy. The pretty ones make you smile.
They do make you smile. They're fun to have. It's just cool.
Yep.
It's not a big deal to have them or nothing like that. It's just a fun thing. All right, now that we're off of that, the next item would be, if you're using patterns, a pattern keeper.
Yes.
I have a couple of
skipped one.
I know. No, I was going to go back to that.
Okay.
You would, something to keep your patterns in would be helpful. Whether you have a binder that holds multiple patterns and then something smaller to hold the pattern that you're using currently.
Right.
Those are very helpful. Very, very helpful. You don't have to have that.
No.
You could just use a folder to hold all your patterns. Otherwise, you're like me and they're scattered everywhere.
Yeah. I would suggest page protectors, though, if you're using a paper pattern.
And that's exactly what I have. I have page protector. And when I print off my pattern, I will stick it in there. And then that way, too, I can just pull out the page that I'm working on. And I'll slip it back. If I'm not finished with it, then I'll slip it back in the front of the page protector. So I know exactly where I'm at in my pattern.
Oh, I love that, Gwen. Gwen made a dream catcher for displaying stitch markers and a mini shawl for displaying stitch markers.
Awesome.
Oh, how cute. That's a nice idea.
And Nancy's been making them for 15 years. She made a little guy with some paracord. I love that. I think it's just something that's helpful. I have patterns in page protectors in binders. I have about 4 binders full. But I also have the pattern protector that folds in thirds, and you open it up and you write on it with a dry erase marker.
Right.
I have another one that has magnets that holds the pattern, which is great. Oh, you do need a binder. Yeah. You are the mosaic queen, sweetheart. I have a lot of patterns. But I picked up all my things. So now basically my pattern is just sitting in here with a pen holding it together. I can't even find a paper clip. I mean, it's, yeah, bad. You have to, I'm missing Granny Day. I do have a huge collection of stitch markers. Yes. You display yours on a doily. I love that.
Awesome.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that one. That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Hola, Meritia.
Hey,
hello, Melissa. How are you doing?
Oh, I added an I again.
And then the last item is a journal. And Maureen's going to explain to us the journal.
You know, this is something that all of us, especially those of us that have been crocheting for many years, those of you that are newbies, please let me impress upon you the importance of this, because it will save you so much in the years to come. Keep a journal like a log of your yarn. I mean, separate out several pages, however you wish to do it. But you have red heart. Okay, you have red heart. What colors do you have? What are their skein weights? Like, is it a 3-weight or 2-weight? How many do you have? I have 4 black red heart, 4 ounce, and I have 4 of them. Because that way, by having your little log of not only the brand that you have, the weights that you have, the quantity that you have, you're not continually buying yarn that you've already got. Okay, that's the first reason for having a journal. Another one is, and this is more of once you get to the point where you want to start like writing your own patterns, you need to keep a journal of when you're writing your patterns, what size was it? And even date it, folks. I mean, it has surprised me at times when I go back and look. I mean, I know the name of the pattern and I know where it's at in one of my journals. I go back and look at it and it's like, oh my goodness, I made that pattern 15 years ago. I designed that hat, or I did that little dress for one of my girls over 20 years ago now. I mean, it's crazy. But you need to, if you especially start delving into that, or you might want to have that journal to make a note on the fact that you use so-and-so's tutorial. So write down the YouTube channel name, the particular tutorial you looked at. How did you have to alter that in order for it to fit you or whoever you're making it for, so that when you have to reproduce that, you have your notes. You're not having to sit there and think, well, I don't remember what I did. That's why the journals are really, really important. And you don't have to go out and buy a journal book. You can always just get notebook paper and a 3-ring binder and make your notes in there. Get some little dividers, whether it's cardstock or construction paper, separate it out however you want to. But making notes for yourself now as you are starting to learn things will help you in the long run to go back. And number one, it's a great way to see how far you've come. This is what I started out learning. And then when you go back, and even in 6 months or a year's time, to go back and look to see what it is you've done and what you're doing now, it will just amaze you. And it will also give you the encouragement to continue going and growing and expanding what it is that you're learning and doing.
In my journal, I have, mine are in spiral notebooks. And one of mine in a spiral notebook are the sizing of my family members, their sizing.
There you go.
Alone. And, a person has a page and I can go back and I did mine in pencil. So I can change the sizing if things change.
Right.
And then I have another spiral one with patterns I wrote. And I did it in pencil. So I make changes as needed. So yes, you can take photos and you can stick them in
Oh,
your.
yes, there you go. That's a great idea, Pebbles.
It is a really good idea to journal, especially your yarn. Don't be like me. I've done that where I bought yarn and I forgot I bought it. I had
Mm-hmm.
and I bought the same amount of yarn again.
Yep. 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 Yep.
No, don't do that. By keeping an accounting of the yarn you have, it works out really good. And you'll save yourself some time. And if you store it in totes, mark the totes with like a number or a letter,
Yes.
and then you can add a column of your with your yarn that it is in tote number such and such, and you'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to find it much easier.
Yes.
Yeah. And like before I moved down here, I had just now got the rest of my stuff from my old office and brought it down, but it's not set up in here yet. I had those large Ziploc storage bags. I know some of you already know this, but those were my project bags. I put them on a hanger and I would hang them on a curtain rod or a shower curtain rod under I had a folding table.
Yes.
And I would have an index card with hook size, what pattern I'm doing, where I'm at, and just have that in there. Because I don't keep my hooks. I only have that one set of hooks.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't keep my hooks with my projects.
Right.
Yeah, remember how I was always saying I never lose my stuff because I always know they're in that pencil case.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? When you lose it, you lose everything. Froggy took them home.
I put her stuff in my outfit, so I have to mail her stuff to her. Oops.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's a good way to do it. I mean, just keep track of your items. That way you're not, purchasing them twice.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's just a way of keeping track of things. I hope this helps someone. We're just trying. This is a whole series of ways that we can help you guys maybe become great crocheters, great knitters, whatever. Another little quick hint. If you're putting a whip to sleep or to the side for a while, take a photo of your whip with the hook and everything. And that way you've got it, with the pattern and everything. That way you've got it on your phone or on your camera somewhere. So you know everything that you need for that whip.
Right.
I'm glad it's helping you, Juju.
Yes.
At least you've got a photo evidence of it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that you know what you need for that whip. I mean, that's
Right.
just something that I've started doing. I'm hoping it will help me keep track of everything I needed for it. Even though I normally leave my hook with my project, it's just hopefully something that will help you with it. I hope that we could help. We're going to continue with this series for the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have any questions or you want to get a hold of us, please say something in the Facebook group. And you can always email TwistedFiberFriends@gmail.com.
Yeah.
That's right.
Next week, we will be over at Maureen's house. I hope to see you guys there.
Yes, we do.
And in the meantime, please stay safe. Be kind to one another.
Please remember, be the light out there in the darkness for someone today, because you never know. Could be your light that they need to see. Are we going to see you later, Coco?
Yes, it will be around 6:30. So if y'all are bored in an hour and a half, come on back here and I'll be live.
Yay!
Cool. Well,
Yay.
we love you all.
Bye, everyone. Mwah.